We start with the big story. The numbers are just coming in. India's GDP has risen by 3.1% in quarter 4 of financial year 2020. Meanwhile, the GDP growth for FY20 is peaked at 4.2% compared to Reuters' poll prediction of 2.1%. The GDP figures offer an assessment of the early damage caused by COVID-19 outbreak, as a sharp economic decline is also expected in the coming quarters. So India's GDP has risen by 3% in quarter 4 of financial year 2020. That means a 3% growth from a period from January to March this year. And that's the time when the COVID-19 pandemic had really struck the world. Many experts had believed the Indian economy to be hit hard. Many projections had shown a growth of just 2% in the quarter from January to March, but the figures are encouraging. The growth is better than that. It's 3%, but will it continue? That is the big question. Joining me on this broadcast is my colleague Sumit Chaturvedi, who joins us for more details on this story. Sumit, so this has beaten the projections that we were seeing for the last few days. Many had predicted that Indian economy in the quarter January to March the growth will be around 2%. So the growth in that quarter has been better, certainly. We'll talk about the whole year. We'll talk about the whole year. That will be my second question. But as far as that quarter is concerned.
Well, absolutely. The quarterly growth is far better than what is expected. Even there were expectations of growing the GDP going down in minus. Well, it's not that. It's grown by 3.1%, better than many estimates. Now, the big question again is what will happen in the next quarter, April to June. We are still there, and lockdown effect will be visible. In March, there were only 6 days when the lockdown was there. So clearly no big impact of lockdown. And had the lockdown not been there, it would have gone up from 3.1% to at least 3.5%, I would say. So clearly better than expected. But these numbers are encouraging for this quarter, January to March, because a lot of things, budget was there in that quarter. A lot of overall productivity was there also in that quarter, January to March. As far as the year is concerned, it's better than expected, definitely.
Okay, so viewers will be happy that on the initial part of the pandemic, the impact was far lesser on the Indian GDP than many were predicting. But let's, Sumit, talk about the year gone by. It's the lowest growth, GDP growth, that India has seen in 11 years. How will this impact the economy in the longer run?
Well, definitely we have come to now below par, subpar, sub 5% level now. Well, we have to keep in mind that monsoon from the last many years have been normal. Even after that, the demand has been going down. That's what the figure, the overall fear of the economists was. Now, lockdowns have changed everything. Coronavirus has changed everything. But before that also, the demand was not there. It contracted, and that's what was bringing India. Now, it was once the fastest growing major economy in the world before the few years ago. Now, it's clearly not that category, but now the lockdowns and coronavirus have completely changed everything, all scenarios.
Right, as Sumit was mentioning, India has seen a growth of about 4% last year. The last time Indian GDP was below 4% was in 2008. So it's a long time since Indian GDP has grown at only 4%. Only 3 times India's GDP has fallen below 4% in the last 2 decades, as 2008, 2002 and the year 2000. But Sumit, the biggest question right now that we have in front of us, what will be the impact once the lockdowns came into effect? That is the quarter starting April.
Well, April's core data was just released a short while back. So April has clearly, there's no productivity at all. Let's look at steel and cement. The production is down to 90% level. Well, that was quite natural because nothing was operating. So April to June, 1 quarter, everybody is going to forget now. The markets they have taken that into account. Traders and servicemen, everybody has taken that into account April to June. So there was a time before coronavirus and the time after coronavirus. Well, clearly the real month of coronavirus was April, May, and now June. So June growth will be completely wiped out. It all depends how we recover that growth now. Economists are saying that in second half of the year, the growth will come back, but how fast and how much, that's a bigger question. So FY21 is clearly going to be different. Corona has changed everything in the world.
Absolutely, Sumit. You know, even some of the world's biggest economies like Germany is facing at a 6% deficit in as far as their GDP growth is concerned. But good news is that the start of the pandemic period, at least India grew at 3%. But